This is the story of A-chan, also a kamikaze pilot. He was the last pilot to go toward Okinawa to do his mission. He's my uncle, and Susie, my aunt, told me, and Paddy told me, Paddy is the cousin, told me more stories about it. She mentioned that there was a picture of A-chan dressed up in the military clothes with a sword. And what happened is that toward the end of the World War II, he was summoned with his college friends to go to this kamikaze mission. Real story. So he was there in Kagoshima, south of Japan, Kyusyu Island. And I believe what happened is that he took off from the airbase with his colleagues, then found the engine trouble. So he came back. All the people, his college friends who were assigned for this kamikaze mission, died. And A-chan was saved. And after he came back, as soon as he came back, he found that the war ended. The family in Tokyo assumed that he was dead. But when the war ended, 2 weeks or so later, A-chan popped up. Big surprise. My understanding is A-chan was sitting in the room for 2 weeks doing nothing. My cousin Paddy told me he was, what's the word, regretful that he didn't die, whereas his old mates from the college had perished. He lived long. He was 92 years old or so when he passed away. I know where my mother, my sister, and A-chan lived in Tokyo and visited so many times. But funny thing is that I didn't hear this story until 12 years ago or something. And nobody mentioned about it. Maybe not to stir the pot, kind of thing. Hearing this story recently made me lots of stuff to think about. One little different story from A-chan's story is that my father's side had this entrepreneurial, exploratory nature personality, and my mother was more quiet introvert. So I was born in that family, but I didn't know that until Paddy told me that my aunt Susie was a good influence. Anyway, an influence for me because she took care of me when my mother had another baby, and apparently she liked me. And what happened is that she got married with an American military man, which is very unusual in Japan, especially after the war to have happened. But she was the one also exploratory to nature, to challenge the status quo. So she liked me, as I understand from Paddy, and I may have had another influence from my mother's side, not from my mother, but my mother's sister. This is the discovery of my younger days, or past life, you may call it. And we all have some influence, good or bad, character, personality. Listening to all of that and talking with Patty, because Susie was gone, he had the cancer maybe 8 years ago. Very likable person, outgoing. My mother was more introvert. I'm a mixture of those. Lots of influence, especially from my younger days. Kind of like putting the puzzle together. Because in the other video I mentioned about my exploratory nature and childlikeness and all of that. But more information like this popped up, and I'm in Hawaii now, where Susie used to live. So, generation to generation, something passes. What's the moral of this story? Make the most of it. Know ourselves. Thank you.